This is my surfboard, and this is how many mistakes I've made surfing over the last 2.5 years. Here's why. I had a weird desire to change my whole life 2.5 years ago and become a professional surfer, but I didn't know anyone who surfed, so I had to figure it all out on my own. Bad idea. Over the last 2.5 years, I've learned a lot of things, mostly from all the mistakes I've made. The first year was so traumatic that I almost quit surfing 100 times, and I told myself I would only continue if I found a coach and moved to another country to bring my learning curve cost down. Somehow I managed to do both, and I've learned a lot along the way. So here I am, trying to help all you fellow beginner surfers out there with the learning curve and what not to do. This is a 5-part series that begins with this video where I tell you my top 10 basic kook moments just to get you started. What you're about to watch is a culmination of my kookiest, mentally taxing, and expensive moments from my first year of surfing, and I'm oddly excited to share all of it with you. So welcome to episode 1 of Dear Beginner Surfers. Surfing will be your life. If you told me 2.5 years ago that I would be this version of me right here, I would probably tell you that you are delusional. This version of me is so different than how I used to be, but clearly surfing has taken over. I warned you first, I've told you first, when you are 2 years down the road and everything is consumed by surfing, your vacations, all of your finances, everything that you talk about, everything is surfing. If you are not prepared for surfing to take over your life, walk away now. Okay, so to get into depth a little bit more here, when I first started this sport, I thought I was getting into a recreational activity where I would go out every few days, maybe a few times a week, and just go have fun. But that is not how this sport works. Before I knew it, I was draining my whole savings account. All of my money was going to vacations, gear, wetsuits, boards, and before I knew it, every single dollar that I was earning was going towards surfing. Okay, for starters, all beginner, new surfers see surfing and they see that surfer on the 6-foot board and it looks so cool and they all say, I want that board. But that is not quite how it works. It is all about the natural downsizing of your board so that you don't develop bad habits. I started out on an 8-foot foam board, which was a shot to the ego when I first started surfing. I was like, I want that board. And obviously I could not surf on that board because it had like 30 liters and it was 6 feet and I couldn't paddle. I didn't understand the ocean. And so when you're first starting to learn how to surf, you need a board that you can have fun on and you can paddle on, most importantly. 2 words for you: Facebook Marketplace. Whenever I was ready to get a new board and downsize my current board, I would sell my current board on Facebook Marketplace and I would buy a new board of the same value. So I'd basically be trading out my board and not spending any extra money and still downsizing boards and leveling up performance. And so if you want to do that, and if you want the best way to get new boards without spending tons of money, Facebook Marketplace is the way to go. Always, always, always get used boards when you're doing this process. It's not good to buy new boards because you're going to mess it up. Man, if I had $1 for every single time I cracked or dinged my board, I would be literally rich right now. So take it from me, somebody who has broken many boards, dinged many boards, be a haggler or you will go broke. So you know that saying where it's like pick or it didn't happen? In surfing, it's like video or it didn't happen. I learned this the hard way. I booked a solo surf trip to El Salvador about 4 months into my journey and I was feeling so confident and excited, but I didn't have any videos of me surfing. And the first thing the surf camp asked me was, hey, do you have any videos of you surfing? And I was like, no, but I have all these photos. And they were like, nope, back on an 8-foot foamie for you. And I was like, what? Well, why don't you want my photos? They were like, because photos don't mean anything. And I was like, what do you mean? Here are all my photos of me surfing. What I learned after, and what I did also, is that these photos are literally screen grabs from the perfect moment of you surfing, likely before you wipe out. I obviously couldn't progress with this photo. And so if you want to be able to share your excitement and your progress and your journey, just have a friend go out with you every so often, take videos of you so that you can see how you're progressing in the sport and you can make adjustments, and that will make you happier moving forward because you're progressing. Does anyone ever check Surfline and see that green, beautiful line that says good to very good and get so excited, book your travel plans, change all of your plans to accommodate that little green line that says good to very good, and then you get there and it's not true? So sadly, this is true for the whole surfing community. So I did some research because I failed to believe that every surf forecast could be wrong. When I first started surfing, I did not know how to read a surf forecast at all. If you would tell me the swell direction, the wind direction, the period of the swell, the size in meters of the swell, I would be so lost. So I always relied on this little green line to detect my future. Because of this, I actually ended up in a lot of sketchy situations in the water where maybe the conditions were not good for me that day. It was too big, it was windy, it was jumbled, and I would end up breaking my boards, getting injured, all these things that you can easily avoid. So here's the better option. I did some research to see how I could better prepare for my surf sessions, and I found that the Surfline premium cameras were really the only way that I could physically see what was happening in the ocean at any given time. But it comes at a cost of $99 a year. So you're basically spending $99 a year to have access to these cameras. Also, it doesn't cover all the locations. So if you're in South America or places in Central America, there's actually another app that I use that I think is better, and I use it way more often. It's called SurfView. So this app costs about $30 a year, and the cameras are great. But that is just the visual. We're not even talking about the wind direction, the swell direction, or the height of the wave yet. Something I never used to do, mostly because I was uninformed, was track the surf conditions that were best for me to surf in. And that's mostly because I didn't understand swell direction, wind direction, period times, the size in meters that the wave was showing, and how to calculate that, and how to put all these mathematical devices together to decide if it was gonna be a good surf session for me. My brain would literally just not work. Like if somebody told you, oh, Malibu is gonna be a southwest swell with a north wind and 8-second period with a 1.2 meter, you'd be like, what? So I did some research and I actually found this app called Dawn Patrol. It actually tracks the logistics of your surf when you're surfing so that you can go back to it and see what kind of conditions you surfed in that were perfect for you. So if I went out on a day that had a southwest swell and a north wind direction and the meter size was 1.2, but I had the best day ever, this app would track those conditions for me. And when there's another day that I think might be similar, I just go back into the app and look at that really good day and see the conditions, and it will literally tell me if I'm gonna have the most epic day ever. Wow, gear. It has been a battle over the last 2.5 years, finding my wetsuits, my spring suits, my surf suits that are in tropical, beautiful water. But it has been the biggest trial and error of my whole life and has cost me so much money. And so if I can help you guys save a little bit of money and not go through that whole trial and error process, I would love to do that. I used to literally go surfing with bikinis that would completely fall off of my body when I was in the water. And that is just because I had no idea what kind of bikinis I needed to surf in. I still see pro surfers and surfers out there in like the little triangle bikinis. Still to this day have zero idea how they do it. Okay, so let me tell you a few of my favorites that actually stay on your body while you're surfing. I spent a ton of money on bathing suits, spring suits, wetsuits, trying to find the perfect ones that worked for me. So let me tell you a few of my favorites. First up, the Rip Curl Dawn Patrol 2mm Shorty. It is one of my favorites, and for those colder spring days, this is the wetsuit that I go to when I'm not in the mood for a bathing suit, but still in the mood for something shorter. I don't know about you guys, but spring suit shorties are particularly hard for me. They end up cutting in really weird ways and making my body look a little dysfunctional. And so finding this Rip Curl Dawn Patrol 2mm was a huge success. The Sesa Swim one pieces, obsessed. The Nose Rider surf suits, love the cuts. Moana Bikini has been a fave since day one. And Linda Bikini, who can actually make custom suits for you. Every single big brand wetsuit you can imagine, I have had one and I have tested it out. Everyone says that your wetsuit should feel like a second skin. It shouldn't feel clunky, it shouldn't feel boxy, and I've never had that experience for myself. So most wetsuits are actually not designed to fit a woman's body. I was curious, so I did some research on this, and I actually found that wetsuits were historically designed to fit a man's body. They were meant to fit a male structure. In the 1950s, 50s, wetsuits were created, but it wasn't until the early 2000s that woman-specific wetsuits were made. Our bodies are different than males' bodies. Sorry guys, but it's just how it works. And so our bodies are not meant to fit into a wetsuit that a guy fits in. So I wanted to find a wetsuit that fit my body that did not hinder my performance in the water. Whenever I go into the water and I was wearing these wetsuits that didn't quite fit me properly, I would feel like a combination of the Michelin Man and a Tin Man, and that is not particularly good for performance. Until I came across a brand that actually felt like my second skin, and it's called Mamala, and I really love them. This is for women. Men, I'm sorry, you're on your own here. I don't have any advice for you on wetsuits, but for the ladies out there, if you're looking for a new wetsuit, this is the one that I am now using because I can surf better in it and it doesn't feel like it constricts me. One of my biggest questions when I first started surfing was, where do I put my keys when I'm going in for my surf session? The responses that I got from people initially, or what I had found online, were psychotic. I cannot emphasize that enough. Psychotic. People gave me all kinds of crazy answers, like put it on the tire of your car, or put your key in a plastic bag, bury it on the beach somewhere you're gonna remember, and then go find it after your surf session. What? Or the worst, put your key in your wetsuit. Yes, there is a key holder in your wetsuit, but then you are fully relying on that little strap being your ride home. And so my brain would literally just explode every single time somebody told me this. I was like, I'm definitely not burying my keys in the sand. Like that is wild. What if a dog comes and plays in the sand and then your keys are gone forever? So then I discovered a lock box, like the ones that you see on houses for sale, like the big chunky lock boxes that you see on houses for sale. That is and has been the most reliable thing that I have used to feel secure when I go surfing and make sure that everything is locked. I know where my key is gonna be when I get out of the water, and everything is safe. You have to do a little bit of shopping to find the right lock box that will fit your key and your door handle of your car. So what I do is I just put my key in the lock box and I connect it to the door handle of my car. Sure, somebody can steal your car, but that can happen with literally anything. But it's a way safer option to know that your key will be there when you get out of the water instead of burying your key in the sand. I was fully clueless when it came to preparing for your surf session. So most people actually think that surfing just involves grabbing a bathing suit, grabbing a board, and jumping into the water, but that could not be more inaccurate. If you are arriving to the beach with your car, people get so creative with their car organization for surfing. While I still look like a homeless person in my car, but that's a conversation for another day. There's a few things that at all times you must have in your car, regardless of organization. You need your surfboard, your leash. You also need an extra leash in case your leash breaks. Your fins. An extra set of fins in case you smash the ones currently on your board. A fin key in case you need to adjust your fins at all. Surf wax. And I learned the hard way that foo wax is basically the only functioning wax out there, so don't even waste your time with the rest. For girls, I recommend having some UV protection for your hair because your hair can get really damaged in the water. To put this into perspective, I didn't take care of my hair the whole first year of surfing and I completely destroyed it. Then I made a bad decision to go to a Paul Mitchell hair academy and they chopped off all my hair, which was absolutely devastating. But the salt water completely destroys your hair, so you have to protect it against the salt water and the UV rays that are constantly hitting you. Having some leave-in conditioner for when you get out of the water to put right into your hair so that it can get some extra moisture in there. And sunscreen. I have started to do a better job at sunscreen, but at first I was a little, okay, maybe I remembered to put it on, maybe I didn't, and that is a huge mistake. Lastly, leave your dignity at home because you're not gonna need it. Surf trip destinations. We all love that vacation, but let me tell you, there are a few places that people say are beginner surf trip destinations, and they are not. When I was ready to go on my first surf trip, I had my eyes on the cool trending destinations like Hawaii and Indonesia. Huge mistake. If you're a beginner surfer and you want to actually surf, you want to go to places that don't have 100 people in the lineup where you're going to get pounded by waves that are too big for your comfort level. You want to go places where you can have fun and progress and actually surf. And Hawaii and Indonesia are not that. Anywhere like El Salvador, Panama, Costa Rica between the months of November and March is your sweet spot as a newer surfer. Avoid the months that are in winter. Now keep in mind, their winter is different than the winter in the States. It's actually flipped. So the winter in Central America is actually May, June, July, August, September. Those months are their rainy season, so you're gonna wanna avoid those waves that are punchier, bigger, stronger. And trust me, if you are just starting your surf journey and you wanna have fun, go to a place where you can actually have fun. I legit tore my knee because I wanted the trendy, cool place versus the smart place, so don't be me. This sport is not forgiving. You are going to wipe out. You are going to get injured. That's all I really have to say about that, is prepare yourself. And when it happens to you, just know that it is all a part of the game. One final thing, just keep going. I have said at least 100 times that I am quitting. Like, I have literally said, I'm finished, I'm done, this is not for me. And everyone's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, not quitting, but this sport is a mental challenge. And so there are going to be growing pains. This is something where it's hard to do on your own. It's difficult to do everything when you don't know the ins and outs of it. And so hopefully I can be there to guide some of you guys in this process, because I desperately wished that I had somebody that was guiding me. Don't let the small days that are a little unmotivating get to you. Just know that you have a community out there that is also going through it with you. Every single thing that you do, right or wrong in this sport, makes you better. So here you go. Thank you so much for watching episode 1 of Dear Beginner Surfers. The next episode is going to cover specific travel tips for newer surfers. So if you want to know more and there's anything specific that you're looking to know, comment, subscribe. Episode 2 is coming soon.